Welcome to I Said What I Said. I'm Brad 𝐸𝐿𝐼. That's Tyson Gentry. NFC West Preview coming your way, folks. We've done the AFC West just recently. We've done the AFC South, NFC South. Go check those out if you haven't already. They're in your feed if you're listening to podcast form. If you're watching on YouTube, they are in your feed as well. Smash that like button, smash subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing we do. We're going to have a huge football season this year. We're excited for it. We had a big one last year. We're going to keep that momentum rolling here. So we're starting off with our previews in the NFC West. What we're going to do is kind of highlight who's the favorites, talk about this in a little intro, dive into each team, give our expectations, win total, things like that, what we expect out of these teams, to give us some closing thoughts at the end. So Tyson, NFC West, before we hopped on, we were kind of looking, we're like, oh, that's right. The Niners were the worst team in the division last year.
And yeah, I want to start off the top by letting everyone know right now, this is Brad's favorite division. This is the year that he's not going to tell me that three teams in the NFC West can win this thing. And just know that he's lying. Like, as soon as the Seahawks come on, he's going to look at that whole sideline and just be like, I love this coaching staff. I think the Seahawks should win 11 games. I'm going to get that text week one.
You would have, Tyson, if there's a different quarterback. And we'll get into it. You know I'm not a Sammy Darnold guy, man. This screams could be a disaster up in the Pacific Northwest, but we'll see. And the Cardinals, man, that Kyler video when he's hanging with the guy with the pizza in New York, you know what I mean? I was like, oh, that was sick. I'm like Kyler, but I'm like, I don't know if he can be the guy there. So I'm down to two teams. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
Off the top. Let's get into this thing with the odds, though. The Niners are classic worst to first candidate. They're plus 155 to win the division. Rams are plus 200. They're the second favorite. Cardinals plus 380. Seahawks plus 550. So it seems about right. Like, if we're looking at this thing, we just said, hey, let's just roll things out there. Let's get an idea of where we're at. That all feels right to me.
I mean, you're betting on health either way, I think. You're betting on the San Francisco 49ers to stay healthy, or you're betting on Matt Stafford and this weird back injury thing that we don't really know anything about. To just kind of be a preseason, off-season nothing burger, and he's fine. And I think those are really your only two options. If Johnny Gans gets this group more physical in Arizona, they could maybe be like a contender for 8 or 9 wins. But that seems like a huge ask to look at this Cardinals roster and tell them to win the division.
Yeah, that's funny, Tyson. That was a good joke. Johnny Gans, our boy. Yeah, it is interesting. We're going to bookend or kind of dive into these teams with health, and I think that makes this division very interesting. So if we're looking at how do you want to attack this thing, do you want to go with the Cardinals? Is the ceiling even there? Like Tyson said,
are they going to win the division if everyone else is hurt anyways?
They can. I mean, if everybody's like, if you don't have Stafford, and if the Niners crumble again, like they always do under Shanahan, just health wise, like the Cardinals are live. But if everybody's healthy, I think they have no chance, right? Am I crazy to think that?
I think that they might be closer to like not as banged up last year 49ers, but like if the Niners are average NFL hurt or maybe a little bit more than that, like I still think the Cardinals are farther away than that version of them.
And that's how I feel about the Seahawks too. But I mean, Sam Darnold, if last year was not a fluke and he can do that without Kevin O'Connell, maybe. But the defense should be good, right? Like that's what you hired Mike McDonald for. But the offense, it's just like, when was the last time there was like an offense you wanted to watch in Seattle? Like that's where I'm at,
There's been guys you wanted to watch, but I mean,
right.
we're in the prime. Kenneth Walker is hurt again phase of the offseason.
Yeah, so lots of interesting things to dive into. I don't really know about this division right now, Tyson. So let's dive in here. Maybe we can kind of talk ourselves into something in the closing thoughts at the end. So let's start with the Niners. 6-11 last year, and they end the season losing 4 in a row. So I mean, they're freaking 6-7 going into the final month of the season, and then things just completely fell apart. Brock Purdy looked mortal, and we kind of said that, hey, if you don't have your weapons, where are we at here? And I think we saw Brandon Ayuk still hurt. Is Ricky Pearsall really going to be your number one guy? Juwan Jennings is back. Got a pay raise. You trade away Deebo Samuel. Was that maybe addition by subtraction? We'll find out. There's just a lot of question marks I have with the Niners, which is kind of crazy to think about that they were in the Super Bowl freaking 2 years ago.
Christian McCaffrey, if he's healthy, it doesn't matter if Brandon Ayuk is never playing football again. Like I don't know what the heck is going on there. Like Coach hates him, hurts himself. comes back, like doesn't play. Coach hates him again, hurts himself again, and now it's like he's running off to the side at practice, so we don't even really know what's going on with all of that. I think Ricky Pearsall takes a step forward this year. I thought he was good to end last season. George Kittle was the third best tight end in the NFL last year, probably.
He was awesome.
Bowers and McBride, and he might have been better than McBride a year ago, and you hope that continues. That defense just has to stay. Dude, do they practice different? Do they have a different nutrition team? Do they have a different strength and conditioning coach? Because this is every year with the, and we do this with other teams. Like everybody has just a cycle where, this is, like last year, Washington was like half their team was on IR. The Lions all died. But it's every year for these guys.
Every year.
And at a certain point, you got to start asking the question, like, what are they doing differently than everybody else?
Seriously, and this is something my brother and I have talked about, and that's something like you can directly affect as a head coach or as an organization, right? Like the luck thing, like you're not going to stay healthy every year. Like you have to. Trey
Lance breaking his ankle is unlucky.
That's unlucky. But when your entire defensive line goes down with soft muscle injuries, you know what I mean? Like pulled hamstring or pulled quad or something like that, or a muscle injury. Like that's something, and it's happening every year. It's like, what is going on over there? So I'm with you. It is wonky because we always look at, there's injury regression, right? Well, you can't be that banged up. If you're the 28th most banged up or the second most banged up, like it's going to go to the middle at some point. It's going to teeter. That's not the case in the Bay Area for the Niners. And so I'm shocked to see that. So because of that, Tyson, I think we can kind of look at this thing and say, well, we know people are going to be hurt on the Niners. Who is it going to be? How impactful is it going to be? That's where we don't know. But it's not going to be like we're all getting the clean bill of health. Now we can finally see what this roster is going to look like.
I mean, Big Bob is back on the sideline for the defense, and I think that helps, even if they get a little banged up. That's your guy. I'll let you kind of do a little bit more talking about Robert Salah, but I think that's kind of flown under the radar here.
It has, and it's a quiet addition. And Tyson, if you look at the two deep for the Niners too, there are so many new faces on this football team, and you got new draft picks. You got people coming over for trades or free agency. Salah's going to have to really round everybody up. Now he's a great defensive coordinator. I think nobody can take that away from him. Didn't work out in the Jets as a head coach, but he's
all banged up with soft tissue injuries, same as the guys over in Miami. It's weird how these things all connect.
I know. The only place it really hasn't is the freaking Rams. It's like, what's going on? So maybe it's McVay's the guy, not Shanahan. Everybody's. If you
listen really carefully, you can hear Puka Nacua getting an MRI.
Oh, yeah. But he's a separate case. All right. 49ers, we've done enough. And if you can't tell, there's a little bit of saltiness that Tyson and I have just for the lack of, those guys like to run their mouths a lot over in the Bay. How about this, man? 9.5 is over 9.5 wins is minus 170. Over 10.5 wins is plus 110. That seems crazy to me. I think if you think everything's going to go right for the Niners, then go ahead and take a shot on division plus win total over. If you think they're going to get hurt again, if you think Brock Purdy stinks and McCaffrey's not the guy, you can get under 9.5 at plus 140. That's pretty good to me. That
just seems really inconsistent with the favorites to win the division to me. Like if you're all in on the Niners to win the division, you got to do both. I feel like you got to play them both.
Let's move into the Arizona Cardinals. Tyson, another disappointing season, although 8-9, you kind of take a step forward. Much better at home, 6-3 than they were away, 2-6. It's the Kyler Murray thing, man. Like it's the same thing. Like the Cardinals need a quarterback. Oh, we think we got Kyler Murray, and it's just like, is it going to happen for him? Where are you at with the Cardinals? Where are you at with Kyler Murray? And just where we're at in this current iteration under him.
Well, like if you remember a year ago, they're 6-4. And it was like, maybe the Cardinals can steal this thing. And I think we might have the same conversation at some point this season. Like you get a couple pretty big time upgrades on the defensive side of the ball, especially defensive line. And then you're hoping for a big step forward from Marvin Harrison Jr. I just don't think the way this offense is structured, we're going to see it on the stat sheet necessarily, but it might happen in real football. And then, dude, have you been following any of this coach speak about the running back situation here?
I've heard some stuff, but why don't you explain it? Because I don't really know what's going on.
Sure sounds like Trey Benson's going to play a lot this year for the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, even James Conner is up there on the mic saying, like, we're going to be closer to a 50-50 split. You got Jonathan Gannon saying Trey Benson's look good and they want to give him the ball. This is a guy that we were all ready to bury a year ago. And look, if he's the guy he was at Florida State, that's a pretty big addition for them here too. And you still worry about wideout too, but when you have, again, one of the three best tight ends in the NFL, and Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr., I think that they're going to be 6-4, and we're going to sit here and be like, you might have to take a shot on them to win the division.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, if the coach speak is correct and James Conner does do 50-50 split with Benson, I think that's good for Conner, man. They have run him into the ground. It's like, dude, he is on fumes at the end of the year. And, he comes out like a bull in a china shop to start the year because he's like, yeah, I finally got some rest. Like, I'm not getting in 17 car crashes every single week, or 30 the way they use them, So I think that'd be good. And if that's the case, Tyson, maybe that allows that 6-4 start that normally fizzled out at the end to actually be sustainable, right? And so that might be something, because if Trey Benson can provide touches and save Conner for later in the season, that could be something. Where are you at with this offensive line? Because you got Paris Johnson, the highly touted guy coming out of Ohio State, starting left tackle, Evan Brown left guard, Jonah Williams right tackle, sure, the interior, all right, maybe. Like, is this offensive line going to be good enough for the Arizona Cardinals to compete?
Let's see. That's kind of where I'm at with this group, because I think they probably should be, especially like we went over the questions, and we're going to talk about the biggest one, maybe in the entire NFL, with the at the end of the show here. But I like it, dude. If they can just maul people, I think that helps a bunch, because we're going to get a couple hilarious Kyler Murray moments. We're going to get a couple Arizona's driving, Kyler's controller turned off, things. But they just have to be more physical. I think that's been the messaging from the front office, from the coaching staff for 2 years. And now it's time to see it, because they finally got out of the practice of drafting the project guys. Right. Like, there was 3 or 4 or 5 drafts in a row where it's like, oh, they got 𝐾𝐨𝐬𝐵, they got this other guy, whoever else. And these guys never hit. Kid from Clemson, Isaiah Simmons.
Yep.
There's another one where it's just like, let's get these athletes and throw them out there. And now they got ball players. And I think, like, it's not now or never, but it feels like it could be now. Will
Johnson, one of them, who's a ball player, didn't test great, right? But, like, we've seen the guy play. He's pretty good at Michigan. Like, he was awesome. This defense, Josh Sweat you bring over, he's familiarity with Jonathan Gannon from their time with the Eagles. Okay. Akeem Davis-Gaither, somebody at linebacker. It's kind of interesting. If Cody Simon can play when he gets, he's a freshman, that could be somebody who ramps up. That's something to note. And you mentioned Calais Campbell, Dalvin Tomlinson. So you go get maybe a little bit more physical on the interior. I still think there's some limitations there with those guys because they're older. But this is a defense that's got to finally come on, Jonathan Gannon. You're the defensive guy. Let's go.
Just hit somebody.
Okay. Cardinals win total, Tyson. I think this is interesting, because if you don't want to attack them in the actual, hey, we're going to win the division, their over-under is freaking 8.5 here on DraftKings, minus 125, under plus 105. This is a team last year that went 8-9. So we're talking about, can you take the one step forward? Can you win one more game, preferably on the road, I'm sure, and go to that next level? I'm too scared of that. Like Kyler Murray and Jonathan Gannon. Like, is that where you want to put your money? I'm not interested in doing that.
I'm not either. But the optics of this are very funny, because we're about to be halfway done with the NFL, and we've been too scared to give out anything.
Well, officially, we're talking through. We'll have our official picks before the season as we kind of get everything going here. So,
but we have no conviction, man. There's no spine here on the show right now. We're not sold on anybody
except for the Jags. We said that number is soft. We said that is 2 wins off from our thinking.
Sure.
So go check out the AFC South preview. We called the freaking Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson thing. So come on, guys. Let's get into the Seattle Seahawks. Big change here, man. So you already got Mike McDonald. Geno Smith's no longer here. You turn the keys over to Sam Darnold. You trade for Cooper Kupp. Those are like 2 notable changes here, man. So is it Cinderella if everything turns back into a pumpkin here for Sam Darnold, or are we getting a run here?
Does it matter that much?
I don't think they're good enough to compete in this division, Tyson, but it sure as hell helps if everybody gets hurt and Sam Darnold looks like he did last year. And you're like, oh, maybe the Seahawks can do something.
If the Seahawks win 13 games, dude, I'm going to lose my mind. I think for this team, you want to see the young guys eat and you want to see them ball out. And then to be honest with you, I think you want to put Jalen Milroe on the field. Maybe not playing quarterback right away, but I think you want to get him the football. I'm not surprised if Milroe is throwing passes in some capacity at different points throughout the season. Brad, is this the worst team with the best running back duo that you can think of?
Yeah, the duo is good. Charbonnet and obviously Kenneth Walker is like everybody's darling in fantasy. But they went 10-7 last year, Tyson. We're talking about the Seahawks like they freaking were the Niners, like 6-11, like they were good.
Yeah, that's true. It just, first of all, it didn't feel like 10-7.
No, it didn't. Not at all.
Felt a little bit like, why can't we use DK and JSN at the same time for a lot of last season? And Jackson Smith-Njigba was awesome, and I think you try to build on that again if you're calling plays. But Geno Smith was a little better than people give him credit for. That defense was a little better than people give it credit for, and they had some huge plays. Like Leonard Williams scoring touchdowns. Like I think he had 2 of them. Was against the Giants or maybe the Jets. It was a former team, and he goes out and wins a game by himself. Those are so maybe there is some Minnesota magic here in Seattle, and Sam Darnold can harness something. I just think this is a lot closer to a 5-win team, even if he's just okay, than it is like this team's not touching double digits, brother. I mean, Torrey Horton's a great story. We loved watching. We were up late watching West Coast games, watching this guy, but he's going to be wide out 3 probably.
Yeah, he's slated to start here on our lads, which is pretty funny to me. Same with 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐞, starting left guard, which that could happen. That could happen. They need offensive line help. I think that's the big thing. I completely forgot about the freaking DK Metcalf thing.
Yeah,
because the drama was just so and it was like they finally got rid of him, and it was like silent, like radio silent. Like there's no drama in Pittsburgh. Like you don't even hear anything. And then there's just like nothing going on in Seattle, like because Cooper Kupp's there and it's all quiet. It's like, wait, what? So it's just hilarious to me how that's where we're at here. Man. Tyson, you mentioned the 5 wins, the 10 wins here. This is their over-under on DraftKings, which I'm pretty interested to hear your take on this. Over 8.5 is plus 115. Under 8.5 is minus 140. Now, they won 10 games last year. I think we all think the division is going to be better than it was, but I'll throw this out there to you. They went 7-1 away from the 12.
Yeah, dude, it was unreal.
3-6 at home.
It was unreal. It was, and we were getting classic Geno sound bites because they were all electric performances. They went on the road, and this dude just turned into Mahomes.
Yeah, I don't know. Like that's crazy. Like so, you think they're going to do better at home? Okay, but you're probably going to do worse on the road, right? If you think you're closer to 5 than 10, so do you attack the over here? The books are saying no chance, and I think the Darnold thing has something, and I think the division's going to be better, but. If you think this defense is legit under McDonald and you think this offense can at least be formidable, 9 wins is not out of the question.
No, and I think that's where we keep getting stuck here in this division is like if it's Stetson Bennett for the Rams, then the Seahawks are very much alive to win 9 football games because they might steal, a couple that we didn't think they were going to get in division. But if it's Matt Stafford, like I'm comfortable with this team at max 3-3 in division.
Yeah, so let's get into the Rams because I think that's really where we're kind of all right. What's the NFC West? Because there's a good chance that Tyson have to come on here and say Matt Stafford's going to miss X games.
Yeah, I'll cry.
Start the season.
I'll legitimately probably tear up. I mean, look when we're talking and we're getting mad about the 5th quarterback, and we did it in the Herbert thing with all these hypotheticals. We're not out here riding for Jalen Hurts, folks. We got the Eagles flags behind us. We love Jalen Hurts. But we want Matt Stafford on that damn list.
Oh, dude, he's so good. Like this has always been a Matt Stafford podcast. Like even when you schmuck said he sucked in Detroit, like he was the only reason that they didn't go 0-16 for like 5 years in a row. So I don't want to hear any Matt Stafford slander. So I was glad he got his ring.
A real organization, and all of a sudden he's got a ring on his finger right away.
I do think it's funny that he left and the Lions are like a juggernaut now, which is hilarious. But that's besides the point. So let's kind of look at this thing here. If Matt Stafford has to miss time, Tyson, do you think they go to Stetson Bennett or do you think it's Jimmy Garoppolo?
Well, dude, that's the thing. It's like Jimmy's going to get Devontae Adams killed. Puka Nacua is going to be out for the season. Like this is, I think there's a business end of this deal you have to keep in mind here. I think Garoppolo, they go to him first, and then I think you probably at some point in the season when they're 2-6, like if that's the way it shakes out, like you got to go to Stetson Bennett. I think Jimmy Garoppolo was an awesome story right away in his career, taking over for Brady on that suspension, and then he's taking over for Brissett actually on Tom's initial 4-game suspension there and winning games, and then he's flipped for a second-round pick, and he goes to the Super Bowl. Dude, he's been awful.
Oh,
like we can't keep doing this. I mean, like Gardner Minshew can't get a job, and Jimmy G is just like posted up on the sidelines with a clipboard all the time. Sure, you can go to him, but if you want to keep the rest of your team healthy, probably not.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. It is one of those things where we go to Jimmy for the first 2 games. We go to Stetson Bennett for the next 2. Let's say Stafford's out for 4 games. We kind of go, or do we, 2 games, 4 games for Stetson, and Stafford's back after 6? That's the question marks here. Because Stetson Bennett, like, all right, he looks good in preseason, everybody's saying. It's preseason, guys. Like, you can't take anything away from that.
So did Anthony Richardson 2 years in a row. It looked like preseason MVP.
And Stetson Bennett is tiny.
He's 37 years old.
And not a big arm. Like, I don't know. It's just not a good situation behind Matt Stafford. That's why I think if you're Sean McVay, if you're the Rams, you're praying he ain't hurt.
But it's Sean McVay and the Rams. It took Baker Mayfield. He got on a plane, hopped off, won a football game, and now the dude's making $180 million. Like, if anybody can do it, it's going to be Sean McVay. And I think, that's certainly in the realm of possibility. But this sucks to talk about because I thought the Los Angeles Rams were like live to win the Super Bowl, much less the division. And now, like, this thing is getting so weird. And we've seen this with McVay go both ways, I think, as far as the injury stuff goes. But Cooper Kupp was out for 1 week for 14 weeks in a row. You know what I mean? And so that's where I'm like, I don't really know what we're getting. This defense was awesome last year, and it's a bunch of dudes who are just going to get better for the most part that you're throwing out there. Even like Ernest Jones. Like, there's guys here that can really play. They are just they need 9. They need Matt Stafford in order to get to where they want to go, and that's just the bottom line.
That really is because, let's say – so let's do this. We talked about the Stafford angle. Let's say Matt Stafford's healthy, everything. It's just a little offseason scare. He's ready to go. Let's look at this team that way because they could have beat the Philadelphia Eagles last year in the playoffs. They were the only team that was close to beating the Philadelphia Eagles. If we're going to kind of look at that, and we're in the playoffs. The Eagles kicked the shit out of everybody else. And the Niners are right there. They go out and get Devontae Adams. Like, what is he at this stage of his career? He's not the game breaker, but he's still a great
– really good
route runner, and he can get open. He can separate, things like that. I don't know if he's a game breaker, but you compare him with Puka Nacua. Okay, now we're talking here. Tutu Atwell looked like he popped a little bit last year. Tyson, Jordan Whittington at times. Okay, you got some weapons. What about the offensive line?
Wait. I've been waiting to ask you this since, like, the draft. Is Terrence Ferguson going to get a play this year?
So he's on the depth chart behind Parkinson and Higbee. Higbee, when he is healthy and playing, he's good. Player. I think there's too many injuries to that unit. Like Higbee, I don't trust it. And I do too. I think he'd be awesome. I think he's going to start in 2027.
He's a freak athlete, and I think that there's a chance that also helps things. Like if Matt Stafford's playing.
2026, I meant, for when he's a starter. Next year, I should have said, to make it a little bit easier. But yeah, no, I think it'd be awesome. Like, he's the guy, like, I'm pissing it and get him in the Dynasty League. Oh, and freaking Tyson for so long. I'm drafting him. I got snaked. But you mentioned the defense. I think the fact that Chris Shula is back, maybe this is his last year here. I know the defensive guys aren't necessarily sought after anymore, but he seems good. And this is a defense that has everybody coming back pretty much, and you had 2 new guys. Poona Ford's in the middle, and Nate Sandman or Landman, popular show on Paramount Plus. This could be another elite unit for the Niners, and I think, or for the Rams. And I think if that's what you're going to get, and Matt Stafford doesn't have to be Superman, I think the Rams could be really, really good this year.
He just has to be Clark. He's got to be on the field. Yeah, I think if he's healthy, if Matt Stafford plays 14 games, I think this team walks to a division title. We didn't even talk about Kyren Williams, everybody's favorite running back to bury, and then he just shows up with his 1,200 yards and his 12 touchdowns, and then they pay him not a giant contract, but I think it was like a 2-year, extension effectively for like $15 million a season. They go out, they get Jarquez Hunter. They got a guy in Blake Corum that can do pretty much everything fine. Like Blake Corum's not breaking the game, but they're going to be able to run the ball again. And that's like, we never talk about that with the Rams. It's McVay and it's sexy, and look at this offense. It's like, oh, every year they're in the top 10 for rushing efficiency.
That's because it's from the Mike Shanahan tree. And when were they running, rocking and rolling with John Elway? Oh, that's right. Terrell Davis was roaming in the backfield. So I love McVay. I think he, top 3 coach in the NFL. I love him. I think he's just so good. And I don't think that's anybody's going out on the limb there with that. But, like you said, it's McVay. If Stafford, we're back to this, if he's out, you at least have the confidence that Sean McVay is the head coach of this football team. Yeah,
and there's going to be, we'll see. The Browns are they're going to carry 4 quarterbacks onto the opening day roster, and I still think that their quarterback situation is worse than what we have in LA.
I can't freaking wait to get to that. Oh, boy, that's going to be fun. Let's close the book here on the Rams with their win total over 9.5 minus 145. Under is plus 120 at 9.5.
Damn.
So last year they went 10-7. So you kind of need the same thing to happen again this year. But man, do we know any now? If Stafford's healthy, this is going over.
Yeah.
If not, you can attack the under. So I think we're kind of sitting there. I think this is a 10-win team with Stafford without him. Major question marks, but we don't really know. And I think if he's announced that he's in, I think you're going to see some line movement. But man, I wouldn't take anything right now not knowing the health of Stafford.
No, and I won't take anything after they announce that he's playing week 1 or that he's not. Like, that seems like a fool's errand to me.
Closing thoughts. We talked about it. I think if you think the Niners are going to be hurt again, take the Rams, even with the risk of Stafford, because I think they're better suited to have success if the Niners are going to be attackable. I don't believe in the Cardinals. I don't believe in the Seahawks. This is a 2-horse race for me. It's all going to depend on health. We have no clue about it. So I'm not taking anything, but if I had to, I'd take the plus money a little bit juicier with the Rams.
If I had to, I'd probably take the Cardinals and just live with the results. But, I don't have to, so I'm not gonna. I think the 49ers win this division.
All right. Like, subscribe, and share the show. We've been doing a ton of content as we get ready for football season, not just NFL, but college. Next time you hear us is going to be the week 0 preview of the college football season. Tyson's pumped up. I'm pumped up. We're ready to get rocking and rolling on this thing. So smash the subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing we do. Hit the like button on the way out. If you're listening in podcast form, 5 stars, send us a question. I'm curious what you guys have to say. Who's going to win this division? Blah, blah, blah. Anything that you want to ask us, share it with a friend, share it with an enemy. Football season is here. We're going to keep moving on with the previews that we got coming up, AFC North, NFC North, all that good stuff. And we'll talk to you guys when we talk to you. Till then, peace.